What if the key to living past 100 wasn't found in a pill bottle, but in your breakfast bowl? In a quiet corner of Tokyo, a doctor named Shigeki Hainohara lived to be 105. He wasn't just alive, he was thriving. Still seeing patients, still walking stairs, still smiling. He didn't follow any strict diet. He didn't cut out every carb, and he never counted calories. Instead, he repeated the same simple, nourishing habits every day. No superfoods, no fads, just everyday foods and rhythms practiced for a lifetime. Today, I want to share with you the 5 powerful lessons he left behind, and how these small, humble choices could quietly change the way you age from the inside out. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, and you've ever wondered whether you could feel lighter, clearer, more energetic without adding another prescription to your shelf, this might be the video you remember years from now. Because we're not talking about theories, we're talking about a life fully lived. So what exactly did Japan's oldest doctor eat each day?
What small shift in routine did he believe
Made the biggest difference? And how can you begin gently today? Let's take a walk through his morning, his plate, and maybe a little deeper into a life of quiet vitality. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, what's one small habit that brings you peace each morning? Share it in the comments. You never know who you'll inspire. Now let's begin. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you left the table not feeling full? In most of the West, we grow up hearing things like, clean your plate, don't waste food, finish strong. And I get it. It comes from a good place. But over time, that habit can quietly wear us down. In Okinawa, Japan, home to some of the longest living people on Earth, they follow a different rule. It's called Harahachi-bu. It means eat until you're 80% full, then stop. Not stuffed, not full, just comfortably satisfied. Why does this matter so much? Because eating just a little less lowers inflammation, reduces oxidative stress on your organs, and helps maintain a healthy weight without dieting.
Even the National Institute on Aging
has linked moderate calorie reduction to a longer life and better metabolic health. Now, let me introduce you to someone. Her name is Helen. She's 68, a retired teacher and a wonderful grandmother of 4. Helen grew up in a family where food was love. Second helpings were expected. She always cleaned her plate, even when she wasn't hungry anymore. Over time, she began noticing something: sluggish afternoons, bloating, poor sleep. Nothing serious, but nothing felt quite right. Then, during a trip to visit her daughter in Oregon, she saw a short documentary on Okinawan centenarians. What caught her attention wasn't their diet. It was how little they ate. So she decided to try something simple. No measuring. No apps. Just one change. She began to slow down at every meal. She paused halfway through her plate and gently asked herself, am I truly still hungry? Or am I just finishing this out of habit? The first few days felt strange, but by week 2, something shifted. Her digestion felt smoother. She didn't need a nap after lunch. She started waking up lighter, clearer. And the most unexpected part? She began enjoying food more. Every bite mattered. She found joy in stopping just before she felt full. There's something powerful about that pause. It's not about restriction. It's about respect for your body, your energy, your years ahead. You don't have to change your whole diet overnight. Just start by eating a little slower. Put your fork down between bites. Notice how your body feels at 70%. And maybe, just maybe, stop there. I'd love to know, have you ever tried eating until 80% full? What did it feel like for you? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your story might help someone else find their rhythm too. And now, what about what we eat? Up next, we'll talk about one of the most misunderstood sources of protein and why the Japanese rely on it daily instead of meat. Let's take a look. Let's talk about protein, because I know what you might be thinking. If I'm getting older, don't I need more meat? That's what we've heard for years, right? Eat more steak for strength, more chicken for muscle. But in Okinawa, where many people live past 100, meat is not the main source of protein. It's soy, tofu, edamame, miso, natto.
These aren't just traditional foods, they're daily staples.
Why does that matter? Because soy is a complete plant-based protein. It contains all 9 essential amino acids your body needs. But that's just the start. Soy foods are also rich in isoflavones, plant compounds that have been linked to heart health, lower inflammation, and even improve bone density. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, regular soy intake is associated with lower LDL cholesterol and reduced risk of cognitive decline in aging adults. That means better memory, better mood, and stronger bones without the heaviness of red meat. And here's something you might appreciate. Soy is naturally low in saturated fat. That's a win for blood pressure and for your heart. Let me introduce you to someone. Frank is 73. He's a retired engineer, a smart guy, but for years, he avoided soy. He'd heard the rumors soy increases estrogen, not safe for men. So he stuck to grilled chicken. Lots of it. But still, his joints ached. His energy dropped by noon, and his blood pressure kept creeping up. Then one evening, watching a health path video just like this one, he saw Japanese elders making tofu stir-fry in a quiet garden. It stuck with him. The next day, he bought some firm tofu, sauteed it with bok choy, garlic, and a touch of ginger. No big change, just twice a week. That's all. 3 weeks later, his blood pressure dropped. His afternoon energy returned. And his joint stiffness? Much better. I used to think tofu was bland, he told me. Now it feels like medicine, but in the best way. Here's the thing. You don't need to give up meat completely, but a little balance can go a long way. Try replacing 1 or 2 meals a week with tofu, or lentils, or black beans. Your gut will thank you. Your heart will too. And don't worry, you don't have to figure it all out alone. That's why we created Health Path, to walk this journey with you. So tell me, have you ever tried tofu before? What's your favorite way to prepare it? Leave a comment below. Your idea might inspire someone just starting their path. And now, let's explore one of Japan's most powerful, but overlooked foods. It's warm, fermented, and alive. Let's talk about the quiet strength of fermented foods coming up next. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt heavy after eating even when the meal was light? Maybe you've tried fiber powders, probiotic pills, or digestive teas. And still, that uncomfortable bloating returns. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we age, our digestion slows down. Our gut bacteria shift, and that affects everything. Energy, sleep, even blood pressure. But in Okinawa, many seniors experience the opposite. They feel light, active, and balanced well into their 80s and 90s. Their secret?
Fermented foods.
Not fancy supplements, but humble, daily staples like miso soup, natto, and pickled vegetables. These foods are alive. And that's what makes them so healing. They contain natural probiotics, beneficial bacteria that support gut balance. They also have digestive enzymes, which help your body absorb nutrients more easily. Let's break that down simply. A healthy gut means less inflammation, better immunity, and clearer thinking. Even as you get older, the Journal of the American Geriatric Society published a 2021 review showing fermented foods improve digestion and cognitive clarity in seniors over 65. They even support stable blood pressure, something many of my patients care deeply about.
Let me tell you about Claire.
She's 70. Used to be a librarian, sharp and thoughtful, but for years she struggled with irregular digestion, bloating after meals, and late-day fatigue. She tried everything. Then a friend gave her a jar of real miso unpasteurized from a local co-op. Claire started each morning with 1 cup of warm miso broth. No diet changes. No pills. By week 2, the bloating was gone. Her sleep improved. And she told me, my stomach finally feels like it belongs to me again. That's the power of living foods. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight. Just start with one small habit. Try a spoonful of miso in warm water or add a few slices of naturally fermented pickles to your plate. These gentle changes can support healthy aging from the inside out. And if you're following the keto diet, good news, fermented foods fit right in. They're low in carbs, rich in flavor, and deeply healing. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried fermented foods? Did they make a difference? Share your experience in the comments. Someone else may be reading, looking for hope. And if you'd like to explore the science behind this, I've included all the research links in the video description and pinned comment below. Next up, we'll look at a food that many Americans fear, carbs. But in Okinawa, one specific carb may be the real reason so many live to 100.
Let's talk about the truth behind sweet potatoes. Coming next.
Let me start with the confession. For years, I told my patients over 60, cut back on carbs if you want to stay healthy. And while that advice helps in some cases, it's not the whole truth. Because not all carbs are bad. In fact, some can help you live longer. Let's go back to Okinawa, one of the world's longest living populations, home to people who stay active well, into their 90s and beyond. You might think they avoid carbs completely, right? Not at all. Over 60% of their daily calories come from one source: purple sweet potatoes. Not bread, not pasta, not sugary cereal. Just soft, naturally sweet purple-hued potatoes. So, what makes them special? For one, they're packed with anthocyanins. These are powerful antioxidants that protect your blood vessels and reduce cell damage. According to a study published by the National Institutes of Health, foods rich in anthocyanins like purple sweet potatoes support better blood flow, brain health, and lower inflammation. They also have a low glycemic index, which means they don't spike your blood sugar. Plus, they're full of potassium,
vitamin C, and gut-friendly fiber.
Now let me tell you about Paul. He's 69, pre-diabetic, tired all the time, especially after meals. He avoided carbs completely, but it left him hungry, grumpy, and craving sugar by 3 p.m. Then he saw an episode from Health Path about the Okinawan diet. He was curious, so he steamed a small Japanese sweet potato skin on and added it to his lunch. Just half a cup. After 1 week, his afternoon energy stabilized. 2 weeks in, his cravings dropped. And by the 3rd week, his fasting glucose was the best. It had been in months. No pills, no crash diets, just smart carbs used wisely. So here's the takeaway. You don't have to fear every carb. You just have to choose the right ones. Skip the refined stuff, white bread, white rice, packaged snacks. Instead, add whole carbs like sweet potatoes, lentils, or quinoa, foods that fuel you, not drain you. At Health Path, we believe in balanced eating, not restrictions that rob you of joy. Have you ever tried Japanese sweet potatoes before? How do you prepare them? I'd love to hear your favorite method. Let's share in the comments. And don't forget, all the science we've mentioned today, from anthocyanins to blood sugar regulation, is linked in the video description and pin the comment for your reading. Now we've talked about what to eat, but what about how to live? In our final part, we'll explore the one habit Dr. Hinahara believed mattered more than food. It's something no supplement can replace. Let's wrap it all up with rhythm, joy,
and one final lesson from a life well lived.
We've talked about food, but here's something even more important, your rhythm. Not a strict routine, but a gentle flow built from small choices, repeated daily. Dr. Shigeki Hinahara didn't follow trends. He followed joy. Every morning he walked. He sipped miso slowly. He read and smiled. Even in his 90s, he chose stairs over elevators. He wrote books. He gave lectures. He stayed curious, alive. And when asked his secret, he said, "To stay young, you must have fun." Let me share one more story.
Marie is 71.
A widow who spent years chasing health perfection. No sugar, no carbs, no rest, but she still felt exhausted. Then one day she made a gentle shift. She stopped counting and started noticing. Now she walks for 15 minutes every morning, plays music while cooking, sits outside with tea and watches the sky. She even planted basil and calls it her living reminder to slow down. She told me, this isn't just about living longer, it's about finally living. So here's my question to you. What's your rhythm? If you don't have one yet, let's begin together. Here's a small challenge. Simple, powerful. Backhand index pointing. Right for the next 3 mornings? Spend just 7 minutes doing something just for you. No phone. No multitasking. Just you. Breathe. Walk. Journal. Stretch. Stir your tea slowly. Then come back here and tell me what changed. Use the hashtag HealthPath 7 minutes so I can find your story, and others can too. And hey, tag someone you love to try this with you. Make it something you both look forward to. Because rhythm is not about being perfect. It's about coming back gently again and again. And don't worry, I've added all the studies from today's video in the description and pinned comment in case you want to dive deeper. Next time, we'll uncover a food you probably think is healthy, but maybe silently aging your body faster than you realize. So stay kind, stay curious, and I'll see you soon right here on
Health Path.